Now,
Hi, David. Hey.
my name's Dave. I'm from
Hi,
Amplify.
Dave.
I'm talking to bisexual intellectuals. If a very long time ago I'd gone up while I was an older server and I said, Father, I'm going to be talking to some bisexual intellectuals, he would have sent me off to some sort of retreat.
Hmm.
Prayed and they flogged me or something like that. So how
Wow.
did this happen? How did it all come together? Seriously, I mean, what happened? Where did this generate from?
The fact that bisexuality is now openly talked about and celebrated, or the show itself?
Well, I think I'm a conscious guy these days. It's probably both. It's probably the fact of the matter is we live in a world where, well, you don't have to look at OnlyFans and all that sort of stuff. 30, 40 years ago, if you wore something that was a little bit risque, your parents wanted to lock you up. Now you can go and flick your nipple 1,000 times and make $5,000, around the world, that sort of situation. So we live in a different world. So part of no, but I'm just saying, so the acceptance of all of the different elements is fantastic, really, from that point of view, and it enables people to do things normally. Like, you can look at this and say bisexual intellectuals, and I'm 66, so I might think, oh God, most people today wouldn't even look at it twice.
Yeah.
And in fact, in some ways, if you look at the gay movement or the trans movement or whatever, it's very in, if you
Mhm.
call it in. There's a lot of people are coming out and they've got a way to express something that they could never express, and they're fucking well doing it. Absolutely, they're doing it.
Yeah.
So, but in your case, what happened? Because basically, I presume you were all individual entertainers in your own rights when
Yeah.
you were coming up. And then you said to yourselves, why don't we just do something a bit crazy and away you go? So
Yeah.
now that I've spoken for 25 minutes, how about
You pretty much answered our question for us, Dave. We
Yeah.
love
okay, who's interviewing who here?
teamwork.
Yeah, it's a collective effort.
Absolutely.
I
Okay,
do,
so
I do want to say though, to your first point, how different things are from how they were even like a decade ago. I think that's very much due to the fact that there have been some amazing queer activists who have been having these conversations and advocating for change. And obviously change is incremental and it takes time, but it's through like concerted, consistent efforts of a very resilient community and some amazing activists that we are at a point that we can safely, as three women, create a show that centers and celebrates our sexuality, and we can do so without fear. And that's quite a normal thing now, fortunately, in our like relatively progressive society. So, yeah, there's definitely we stand on the shoulders of giants in terms of the queer activists and artists who've paved the way, and it's an absolute joy to be able to do that.
Yeah.
it has a comedic aspect to it. It comes from comedy, though, doesn't it?
Very much.
Would it
This
be
is very silly.
would it be the same if it was just natural? If you actually just called yourself that to go out there and just perform as normal musicians, would it get the same reflection, or the fact that it's comedic, does it get sort of accepted a bit easier?
I think comedy is always a fantastic tool for education. You make an audience laugh, you get them on side and they feel comfortable. Then you have the space to discuss topics that for some people in the audience might still be a little bit taboo.
Sure.
In sort of a low stakes environment. And there are parts of the show that are marginally more serious in their tone. But I think that if we were to do completely deadpan content, that people might have less ease in shaking off any hesitancy that they come in with, because even the title is a risk. You risk getting audience offside, but at the same time we sort of thought to ourselves that if the title is enough to put someone off, then that's probably not an audience member that we want in our space. So it works both ways. Yeah.
It's a bit of
Yeah, it can be.
a method of if you've seen the title of the show and you still want to come,
Yeah.
You'll
then it's
probably
a good
have fun.
vetting process.
Every artist doesn't have, followers that are all, happy. People turn up and they're not happy with the show. So that's that. What about the word queer itself? Is it an offensive word, or is it is it just a generic word? What do you think? Because queer, in a sense, has a connotation, and the word itself has a connotation of, oh, that's queer, or that's different, or whatever. And in a world where we're trying to sort of say, we should accept all these things. Like we probably go a bit over the top in changing all the words and all that sort of stuff. So we're not saying mankind, and we're not saying all this sort of, to try and correct that, whatever that situation is. But I just wonder, is queer still the right word, or
Queer as a term is very generational. That obviously in recent years it has been heavily reclaimed by the gay community.
Okay.
And for our generation has very little weight, as it wouldn't be classified as a slur. I'm not offended by that. I use that as an identifier for myself.
Yeah.
And also because gay is used as an umbrella term as well, but that has the caveat of also being a descriptor of specifically gay men who already are very centered in queer media. I think using the word queer instead of the word gay, or instead of, fumbling through the whole
LGBTQIA+,
the whole acronym,
which is respectfully a bit of a mouthful.
Yeah, it allows you to be more open and to not.
So it's like a red top. It's just it's just a description rather than
a mutual descriptor.
I mean, you could also argue that you could say any word in a derogatory way, and that would be derogatory. Whereas
that's right.
Describe the umbrella of the community. Sure, being like this is negative, so I'm going to call it queer. Not nice, but not nice to do that for any words.
Another time when I start, I've got a podcast I'm going to start on sort of consciousness, and we'll have another discussion another time and get deep and get you crying and all that sort of stuff. But I've got a fuck quiz. And it's about using the word fuck and how it's used as a weapon and as a feeling word and as a descriptor, etc. So it's the same sort of thing as what you were just saying. It's just a word, and if you use the thing and you say you fucking, then it's nasty. You say, oh, you fucking, it's just a throwaway. So and I think that's a good thing about the world we live in, that people are prepared to work with that. Except, you see Trump and all this sort of shit, and around the world, the right wingers are coming back to sort of say we need to claim the past and bring it back because the world's become blah blah blah, because they're afraid of change and they're trying to push all this sort of stuff out. For me, I think it's we've gone too far. Well, there's no way we're going back, as Kamal is going back. So. All right. What about your sound? Sorry, go on, finish.
Into the queer discussion, though. Sorry, just final talking point.
Go.
That, like you were saying, because it did, in previous generations, have a very derogatory connotation. It was very much a slur. I am conscious that elders in the LGBT plus community still don't like it, and there are some people for whom it still has a lot of sensitivity. So even though we, like Rosie said, generationally use it as a neutral descriptive, it's just something to be conscious of, that not everyone in the community is going to feel comfortable about it.
Bit like the N word, where today it's sort of just thrown around a little bit, humor or whatever. But if you go back, a couple of generations where people were being lynched and all this sort of stuff, it has a completely different meaning to those people, and it's so much more offensive. And you're right, we've got to be aware of the environment we're in, etc. And even in comedy, you can go out there and say we're going to be comedic, but if you're offending through your comedy, then you probably need to have a look at yourself. What about your sound? Because we're predominantly a music vehicle, but I don't mind, opening. What about your sound? Describe your sound.
We have made it a bit of a goal to transverse as many genres as possible. So in this show,
our opening number is an EDM track about not being able to sit properly in chairs, because that is a bisexual stereotype. We've got an Irish folk song in there. We've got like cheery musical theatre vibes. Got a bit of rap. What else do we have? We have some opera.
Oh, a little bit of opera. Yeah.
We have like a mega church.
Yeah.
Sort of.
There's a tap number in a jazzy kind of context.
Yeah. So it's truly a bit of.
How does it translate? Let's say if you bring out an album, how does that translate? Because obviously this is a visual jump around dance, or the whole visual sells the music as well. So how does it translate? It's not a sort of a Sarah Bareilles, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road where you just, or whatever. How does it translate? Have you brought out any albums, or have you brought out any music?
It's very topical. We were actually recording just yesterday. So keep an eye out. Watch this space. We'll be releasing some of the soundtrack.
Very soon.
EP
or
or album? What are you releasing? Or you're not saying?
Probably an EP to begin with. We've got 3 solid tracks that'll be ready to go, and then we might go the whole hog with the full album at a later stage. Although I will have a real ponder when we get to the genre box ticking. I think I might just cop out and click soundtrack.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, because we will not be boxed in by a genre, Dave.
No.
You won't be boxed in. So
But it definitely translates very well. We're very much in we are under like comedy cabarets. So our show's quite episodic in that it's kind of like each different song or piece or scene, well, not really scene, but section kind of is all covering like our sort of experiences within our bisexual experiences. Not a lot of serious stuff in there, just some fun jovial things.
So someone had a lesbian boyfriend.
We all did. We wrote a song about it, and then we all went through breakups with our lesbian boyfriend while writing the song An Ode to My Lesbian Boyfriend Day.
And between writing the song and debuting the show, Dave, we all broke up with our respective lesbian boyfriends. I'm so sorry.
I just said that.
That's okay.
I thought this might go this way, and I've got someone here, this psychologist that I thought I might introduce at this. I think we've progressed to the point.
Now has an outstanding lesbian boyfriend.
I have an outstanding lesbian boyfriend.
Yeah.
What is a lesbian boyfriend?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked, Dave. Who wants to dive in?
Rosie?
A lesbian boyfriend is a term of endearment that we coined in our friendship group that describes the overwhelming frequency with which queer women date queer men. We find ourselves not particularly drawn to conventionally masculine heterosexual men, and very often dating men that are more effeminate, more soft-spoken,
more in touch with like
emotional intelligence.
Not necessarily just be into traditionally masculine traits.
Yeah, that it's a bit of a descriptor that you'd be like, I'm seeing someone who's really great. He's got longer hair. He's really done the work on himself. He's a lesbian boyfriend.
Yeah, we did. We went to the farmer's market together last week. He actually borrowed my pants to go. He looks great. Yeah, that's my lesbian boyfriend.
Yeah.
It's to be a lesbian boyfriend.
In one sense, it's great, I think, because basically, from a conscious point of view, I'm a huge believer in collaborating with the moment. And so detaching from all forms of thought to some degree and just being physically engaged with the moment and turning up to this new moment and being with it rather than measuring it as rich or poor or fat or thin or whatever. But it is interesting to sort of, have that sort of, females that go out with males that are, queer and having the whole sort of, get up, because I'm not sure to talk about it. It's quite general, but to actually be going through that sort of a process where you're selecting a a male queer rather than a male straight or something like that. To me, sounds like it's a little bit,
It's
why?
definitely less of a vexing process and more of a we've just discovered that the guys that we've dated
And that
have
we're
been
attracted
like that.
to.
It's
And we thought, isn't that fun?
it's
Yeah,
completely interesting, and
yeah.
it needs to be.
My ex-boyfriend was straight, but we had a little running gag that I was like, I had kind of just discovered I was bi, started dating this straight man, but I was like, accidentally, it's kind of the closest I'm getting to being in a lesbian relationship because he was just so like gentle and sweet and wonderful, and we just were like, that's kind of funny within our group, and yeah, so it's not so much a we will only date people men that are like lesbians, and more just like, isn't that funny that out of the people the men that we've dated, they've all been either queer or just like not as much in the traditionally masculine.
I think it's great. I think it's great that as we're opening people up, because most people, let's face it, most people live in their brains. They live in their thought, and so they're working through the different conditioning that they've had. And so, if we're opening them up to change that conditioning, we've got to do it gradually, generationally over time. But we've got to do it, because if we don't do it, so shows like yours, etc., they're not necessarily, we've got plenty of now we've got plenty of examples of RuPaul and all different people that are doing stuff that are massive, but generally they're sort of on the fringe, like we have the Fringe Festival, but they're building. So, but it's important. It's important to sort of talk about that. But I'm of the view, like I say, from that conscious perspective, that love's love. And when you feel something, it doesn't really matter whether it's a female or male or whatever the situation is. You can have that experience if you turn your head off to what does this mean? How will I be viewed?
Yeah.
What if next door saw me and all that sort of stuff? It's a bit of a strange sort of situation. All right, tell us a bit about obviously, this is a little bit different for me because we're usually talking about music and music performance, which is a part of what you do. But tell us a bit about your show, because your show obviously is comedic. When you're writing, are you writing jokes? Are you're writing music? Are you writing a combination of both? Are you writing? Are you choreographing? What does the show comprise of? So anybody that's listening to this will know what they're going to cop when they turn up.
All of the above, Dad.
Is there a predominant part though? If you were saying
like comedic
your elevator pitch, would it say that you're going to sweat on the dance floor, or you're going to
sweat?
The reviews have said that the pace is relentless. It's an hour. It is predominantly music with small spoken sections that link those things together. As Jem said before, it's very episodic, heavily based off our shared experiences, anecdotal, told in a very informal way where we interact with the audience as well. But yeah, it's pretty much a mile a minute, jokes, anecdotes,
silly songs.
Yeah.
Songs. We do dance quite a lot. We do find ourselves damp with sweat after the show.
As we all have like musical theatre backgrounds, so it's very informed by that, especially like Jem was saying, musically a couple of the numbers are really obviously
show tune.
A show tune, like a pastiche to the music theatre canon, but yeah, there's very much that centering of the music and the song with performance. I would say musical comedians is sort of how we'd pitch ourselves. But also got to throw in a good tap break.
Tap. Who's doing tap? Not all of you.
All of us.
Really?
All three of us.
One time when we were doing the show and we began the tap break, a friend of ours was in the audience and someone behind them just went out, weaponize that BA. And so we really have taken that on board. And that this show, we really are weaponizing those BA.
We will eat your heart out.
We learn a lot of skills and we're showing them to you now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Boom, boom. Are you supporting, when you go out and support, do you support a comedian? Do you support a music act? When you're doing your own thing, I can understand you can do your own thing. But when you're going out to be a part of a show, is the show a comedy night?
Yeah,
it
if we're gonna be on a
a
lineup,
fringe night where they're going to have a range of different acts?
yeah, we're usually on the lineup of a variety show because it's hard to pin down exactly what we are. It means that we can take a song from the show and go on a musical lineup. We can just sing one. It means that we can take a song from the show and go on a comedy lineup. Or what we have most commonly done is go on like a cabaret variety show lineup where the constraints are a little bit looser. Yeah.
And what's the goal then? You know, if it's not exactly for mainstream, if it's not exactly, you know, thought of, and they can, you know, develop another 1,000 likes overnight and all that sort of stuff, which you could do, obviously. You could create a podcast that ran down this path, and you could probably become super famous from that perspective in today's world. But if you were just performing, what's the goal from a performance point of view? Where is it that you want to take this?
I mean, you have the plans. So I think at the moment we have found that the format of our show and the career stage that we're at is really well suited to these open access fringe festivals. So we debuted our full-length 60-minute show in the Adelaide Fringe at the start of this year. We were really fortunate to get funding from Adelaide Fringe. Thank you, Adelaide Fringe. And this upcoming Melbourne Fringe season that we're currently promoting is sort of the next stepping stone, and was a lead in a follow-on from that, because we were awarded a touring grant from Melbourne Fringe to bring it over. I think probably the next step for us is to start pitching ourselves and being seen as a contender for more curated festivals. So rather than these open access fringe festivals, starting to look at hopefully being put in more curated lineups. I think ultimately the three of us are just going to keep writing together, keep making some cool stuff, be open to opportunities. I think that if we're trying to really map out and be very specific about where we want this to go, we might not necessarily be open to other doors that might open up. So at this point, I think we're writing, creating, we're having a good time. We're putting our work that we really stand by on stages, and whomever sees that and whichever opportunities
what happens.
we're going to be open to that.
How long have you been together for now?
We've been friends for 4 years. 3 years? 4 years? I don't know the concept of time.
We have been friends.
We've been friends
for about
7 or
8 years. And then
these two went to uni together.
We went to uni together starting almost 4 years ago now.
And then we've just, so much of the stuff that is in the show is just little silly bits that we've done just around the house in our friendship, which is always the best way to do it. But then we this show is our first, the three of us collaboration. So like we've done stuff together. You two have obviously done stuff together. We lived together, so that was crazy. But this is the first brainchild of the three of us, which is really fun, and it's been going very well.
I'd say who came up with the term bisexual intellectuals, but the police may be listening, so we don't want them. They might have an in to sort of come and arrest someone.
I don't remember.
It may have been you.
I think it might have come out of the fact, maybe, that when Rosie and I went to uni together, there were a few of us, the two of us included, who labelled ourselves as the big talkers, because we were sort of the, intellectually astute.
What were you studying?
Musical theatre.
And that's studying musical theatre.
Nim's also a lawyer.
Put you in the intellectual grade?
Yeah, absolutely. Nim's a lawyer.
Oh, well, law, I would say that's fair enough. That, you're studying musical theatre.
I would argue, Dave. I would say, my music theatre degree was a lot harder than my law degree.
Really?
And two, I think that there's an intellectual pursuit in the arts that often goes overlooked. I think that really strong artistic practice is underpinned by so much theory and so much critical thought and dramaturgy and research and just intuition about what is going to be dramatically successful. And I think there's an unfortunate stereotype that the arts aren't an intellectual pursuit when they absolutely are.
I know.
Dave, when we workshopped a very early iteration of this show, our beautiful friends that had lent their ears and their eyes to our work did say that we were going to have to work a little bit harder to earn the intellectual part of the title, that we knocked the bisexual part out of the park. But that we might have to work a little bit harder in order to get both words in the show.
Okay, if you could perform with any music artist, alive or dead, who would you choose and why?
Ooh,
Missy Higgins is mine.
She's touring. She's been touring.
I know.
She's coming back to do another run of shows. And
I said to our publicist yesterday, Dave, I said, Missy Higgins is my idol and also a bisexual icon and also Melbourne-based. Can you get her to the show? Dave, if you want to pull some strings and get her to our show, like just I'm putting the word out there. I'm manifesting it to anyone who listens.
We can get to hers. We can't get her to ours, you know.
Yeah.
We can do it ours.
And she's so, you know, she's not your typical, like, she's not out there. She doesn't like, she's not on social media a lot and all that sort of stuff.
Down to earth.
She doesn't need to, because she's just a great performer.
Prolific.
And she's a classic. And you know, the sound of, what was it? The Sound of White, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's the classic album. And you know, it's been a classic album forever, and it's probably one that'll go down in history, really, because especially for a female too, because that was 20 years ago. And you know, a lot of females have come up in the last 20 years, especially overseas, but 20 years ago it wasn't quite as common, or 25 years ago, whatever it was. So no, I'm a big fan. But yeah, you might have a bit of trouble if you want me to get her to come to your gig.
If you
don't ask, the answer's always no.
Exactly.
That's right. I've got no problem knocking on doors, but you know, I might lose a little credibility as soon as is there any chance you can come to our bisexual? I don't think I'd get too intellectual. All right.
I'm Missy Higgins.
We're going to go through.
I'd say yeah.
I want to get her on the phone and say, Missy, I sang the special 2 at my year 7 graduation.
Correct.
In 2007. I've been a super fan for the best part of 20 years.
Yeah.
You are the reason that I started writing songs and learnt to play piano and sing at the same time.
And she would say to you, do you realise you're the 48th person that's told me that today?
Yeah, and that is a testament to Missy Higgins.
She is.
Our queen.
She's great. I'll have to remember that, because quite often they'll say, although she doesn't do a lot of interviews, but quite often they'll say, you want to interview, you want to do this, you want to do that. We're starting a podcast, so we hope to build some influence from that sort of perspective.
Yeah, awesome.
And so when I'm there at the show and I'm talking to her, I'll have your phone and I'll say, listen, there's some people I want you to call or something.
Dave, you're the best.
We'll work it out anyway, maybe.
All right, sorry, okay. I really overran this question.
No, that's
Missy content. Does anyone have any else that who they want to perform with?
Like, from a comedic perspective, I just want to work with Auntie Donna so badly.
Yeah.
With who?
Auntie Donna. They're a Melbourne comedy trio, and I'm obsessed with them. When I was living here a few years ago, I lived really close to their office, and sometimes I'd go on a little walk and just be like, oh, they're over there.
Well, so I work on the basis, again, from that conscious perspective, that anything's possible. You just turn up and you just keep turning up and you keep turning up.
Well, our degrees of separation are getting smaller the more that we make new friends here. So it'll happen.
Well, Dispenza, you might know Joe Dispenza, the science guy from, you know, he's firmly of the belief that you create your life. So basically, and the laws of attraction used to say, luck is purely the absence of doubt. So it's really one of those situations where you turn up. Let's get through some. I'm going to finish with some small questions. If before we do that, what advice would you give to people starting out? Because obviously, being intellectuals, you'd be the best people to ask advice from because you obviously think about this sort of stuff.
Mim, I think this one's for you.
I think the best advice I can give is that if you're being authentic to your own artistic sensibilities and your own sense of comedy and your own sound, your audience will find you. I think that something that we learned, especially writing this show, was that we put stuff in this show because we thought it was funny. And we went, I don't know if anyone else in the audience will, but but 3 people are laughing, so hopefully that translates. But I do think that if like audiences have a really good BS radar, and if you're putting something out there that you're doing just because you think it will be popular or speak to the cultural zeitgeist, I think there's a lack of authenticity there, maybe, unless pop culture and the cultural zeitgeist is something you're really passionate about. So yeah, I think if you're being authentic to your artistic expression, then there will always be people who will connect with that authenticity. And that's not going to be for everyone. And that's the beauty of the arts, that it's subjective and your audience will find you.
Understand that failure's discovery, in another word. So you've got to fail to grow.
Yeah.
So you've got to start somewhere and move somewhere. And there's been plenty of comedians that said, I'm funny, and they've done stand up and they realise that there's, it's not a very easy sort of occupation. All right, here we go. Here we go with some straightforward. We'll finish off with some questions here.
Straightforward, forward.
These three. I'm going to finish with some favourites in a second, but these are 3 that we'd love an answer to. What's the craziest thing you've ever done? By sex, because obviously if you're bisexual, it's an expensive sort of proposition because you're bisex, isn't it? Isn't that what? Hey,
Too, Dave.
Bisexual intellectuals plus Dave. It's got a ring to it.
Beat Dave. Get you on the lineup.
We'll teach you a song.
What's the craziest thing you've ever done?
I think that, to be honest, there is probably a crossover for me with this show.
Yeah.
That I think there's a whole section in the show that when we were formatting it, we nicknamed the vagina monologue because there is a section of songs and scenes that are about sexual health, sexual anecdotes, like medical anxiety, which in previous years, even a few years ago, would have been such a vulnerable topic for me to discuss, even with friends, that the thought of putting it to music on stage in front of a paying audience night after night is absolutely insane. I can't believe I've reached this level of desensitivity around my own body and experiences that I'm able to then show it to other people. And that is the part of the show that we've found people connect with.
Definitely.
Influx of people messaging us and saying, I've never seen anyone actually discuss that on stage. I feel hugely vindicated. Thank you so much.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
Yeah. I think the craziest thing I've ever done is yesterday morning. I went before 7 a.m. I walked through the Adelaide airport and boarded my plane in a big eraser costume, which is a giant yoga mat and a big foam head. And I was hugely inconvenient to everyone around me.
Pretty normal in Adelaide. What are you talking about? Everyone looks like that in Adelaide.
It was insane, and then I've been doing it a bit today as well. So I think yesterday getting on a plane in an eraser costume.
Why did you have to get on the plane in the costume?
Well, Dave, I'm glad you asked. There's a moment in the show where I play the character of the bisexual eraser.
Naturally,
you'll have to come to the show to find out why.
And you
But
went to bed in the costume the night before and you had to race to the airport.
yeah, I said, oh no. The answer's threefold. In that we had to take all of our props and costumes over this trip anyway in preparation for the show. And also we thought it would be really silly, and so we filmed it. And then people go see it and they're going to think it's stupid.
The
Because it
videos
is.
are so funny.
They're so silly.
I was there and I took the video footage, and even as I watch it back, I go straight to the part of laughing where you're not even making sound. It's just silent.
It's so
you can look forward
silly.
to that on our socials, Dave.
Oh, yeah.
And your whole audience will look to those videos.
Eraser's going on some damn adventures this week.
I can see how your parents would be so proud of you these days.
I hope so. Yeah. And if they're not, well, I'll rub them out.
No, they are.
You'll erase them if you will.
Erase them.
All right.
The craziest thing I've ever done, Dave, was to leave behind a potentially illustrious legal career and make a career in the arts.
Listen, that's not crazy. Again, I could have weeks of conscious conversation with you because I've really developed this over like 10, 15 years. And basically there is just the moment and everything else is a thought. And so basically all the conditioned sort of stuff is what you've lived most of the time in good faith, parents and religion and everyone trying to develop you. But the first day of your life is once you've detached, as Louise Hay would say, create the vacuum and then refill. And that's the first day of your life. So what you're doing sounds a lot more conducive to you than a law degree just talking to you.
Very much
so ultimately, once you leave need behind, you have freedom. And, sounds like you're in a free space. So keep doing that.
Free. Too free. Someone constrain me.
Sorry, extras crazy thing is I pissed in the bushes at the most expensive private school in South Australia.
I went out with a girl, a lady. I was about 45. She was about 30. I was a pawnbroker, a money lender. So, and we were in St Kilda one day, and she was just a natural girl. Actually loved The Sound of What had just come out 20 years ago.
Hey-o.
We're in the back streets, and she says, "I've got to go to the toilet." I said, "Okay, we'll go into the front. It was Ackland Street or something like that." She said, "No, hang on," and she just squatted in the lane, mate. And I thought,
that's a free woman.
My girl, that's my girl. Well done. All right, what's the one topic you can talk about for hours? And it sounds like anything is the answer.
Anything. Yes.
Yeah.
I think clearly bisexuality.
Clearly the bisexual experience. I could talk for. No, I have it. I've lost it.
I think the three of us collectively.
Was that a joke?
No, I just have it.
What's the thing I can talk about for hours? I could talk about. No, sorry, I've lost it. That was pretty good.
I just actually forgot mid-sentence.
I think the three of us collectively as three music theatre girlies could discuss the musical theatre canon endlessly. Yeah.
Right.
We were hanging out, Jemma and I were hanging out with her housemate the other day who looked at the both of us and went, "Wow, you guys really care about musical theatre, don't you?" And we said, yeah, we do.
I'm a fucking nerd for it.
Yeah.
I can also talk about my religious trauma for hours, and I do.
As in Catholic.
Like Uniting Church that tried to be a mega church and Hillsong and stuff.
Yeah, I could talk about Catholic trauma for hours too. What's the thing?
Episode of Conscious Conversations. Each of
you.
Well, I think religion. The only reason religion exists is to abuse people. Spirituality is a different thing. Spirituality is sort of it's what you feel. The thought of religion is just ridiculous to me. It doesn't make sense.
Like religion do be cooked.
But now that I've said that, anyhow, people will turn off the interview. What's the thing you like most about yourself?
I think for me, I have braved the horrors of girlhood and emerged in my mid-20s as a woman so unfazed by her own body that I am able to model nude for art classes and perform insane material on stage and just walk through the world with unconditional self-acceptance.
Now,
Yeah.
I've watched interviews with Johnny Carson and all that sort of stuff, and as soon as someone gets up there and says, "Oh yeah, I play the spoons," he says, "Can you play them now?" You know, like he says. So obviously, does that mean did you say nude modeling? Was that what it
Yeah.
was? I'm only joking. Yes.
I do have an overwhelming surplus of nude sketches of myself that I've been gifted after art classes. And if anyone wants to get in touch and take one off my hands, I'm overrun. And
There's so many.
only so many framed
I
photos
think
of your body you can have in your house before you get institutionalized.
Maybe we should sell them as merch after the
Yeah.
show.
definitely. Definitely sign them and sell them, and you'll get. If they can sell NFTs, you'll be able to sell
Yeah.
those. Like,
Really true.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Ultimately, you know that comment you made is really conscious
Mm.
because basically that's really this freedom to say and do and explore and move and all that sort of stuff. You know, I made it a bit trite by talking about do it now. But I'm just saying that that's continue to do that because ultimately the numbers game doesn't mean anything. You know, the pursuit of success and all that sort of stuff, it really means nothing, albeit that you can have that there so long as you've got observance here. And this is the part that we're talking about, that where life lives while you go off and do all this other stuff. I'm carrying on way too much here. What else? But that's what happens. That's a compliment to you guys as well, because, if you have an interview and it's a 15, 20-minute job that goes for 45 minutes, you've obviously spoken to someone else. We're playing cricket.
I love sport.
What about you other two? What's the thing you can talk about for hours?
No, wait, you were asking
Now,
us.
what's the thing you most like about yourself?
Do you want to go?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think the thing that I like about myself the most is that I'm very good at making other people feel good about themselves. And I think I work as an educator a lot. I teach singing because it's a gig economy, and also because I love it. And I educate a lot of young people in like the cabaret space, and obviously create cabaret that is about uplifting women and uplifting queer people. And I think I am, yeah, I am really good at making people feel more confident in themselves, and I like that about myself.
How do you do that?
I think that in cabaret, it's about being vulnerable about my own experiences. I have a catalog of like solo or like some like vehicle feminist centric work, and a lot of that is about body image. And I think by speaking aloud my experiences and saying this is some of the negative self-talk that I've had about myself and the way that I interact with my own physical form and with the way that I sometimes can negatively talk about other people internally, by speaking that aloud and validating other people's experiences by them being like, oh shit, I think that too, and I thought that I was the only one. I think that is a way to break up some of that stigma and allow people to think that they're not a bad person because they have had these negative thoughts about themselves and other people.
I call it torch work, because basically what you're doing is you're shining. They're there in the dark, walking into walls, and you turn up as a torch and you shine a bit on their path that they see clearly. And then the idea is the old fish paradigm. If you can teach them how to develop their own light, well, then they're going to go off and do it to other people and all that sort of stuff. Being a guru for someone, for example, isn't very guruistic, because ultimately you're only helping them while you're there.
Yeah.
Whereas if you can make it about them, that self-discovery, well then you're opening them up to have their sort of experience. So it's cool.
I will also say that the other way that I do it in an educational setting is that I have been bestowed upon me the gift of giving constructive criticism as if it's a compliment.
God, you're good at it.
I don't know how I do
That's
it.
what we call that
My brain is
selling.
wired to be like, I can't say anything mean. So when I deliver this feedback, it's going to sound like the nicest thing in the world.
When I was a pawnbroker, I was selling 10% interest a week, so I can do that too. I
Hell yeah.
can make that 10% sound like I'm doing you a favour.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Delicious.
But I walked away from that because I can't be here if I'm here. Just before we've got to finish these favourite questions as well. What's the thing you like most about yourself?
Jemma,
Back off. I think at the moment, the things that I like the most about myself are that I am truly the silliest goose in the world.
Yeah.
And I can bring such silly poo brain vibes to any scenario. And I have been learning to be very much more accepting of that. And it's so much more fun that I can just go all the time. And it's great. And I had something else and I forgot. Speaking of forgetting, the other thing that I really like about myself is that I am spending a lot of time at the moment learning about my neurodivergence because I have ADHD and how what the great things are about it and the ways that I actually function best. It's amazing. I'm having the best time doing that. So I'm really liking those things.
Yes.
I think that's another, you're just here.
Yeah.
That's all you are. As soon as you start being your description, you're not being here anymore.
100%.
Okay, here we go. We're going to finish with these favourites, all right? We'll go bing, bong, bang. In order of importance, who will we start with?
Did you spoke yourself?
I already had my finger here. I swear.
Who's the leader of the group?
Mim is the giant rat that makes all of the rules.
Yeah, it's Mim. I regret that.
And who's second?
I think at the moment it's you. Yeah.
Based off of this trip alone, it's me.
Yeah.
So it goes in
We're
order.
quite even.
You sat in order. You sat in order.
We did so well.
I get it. The naked lady you're trying to say,
They're trying to shove my naked body into the car.
We're not up with this expression sort of stuff. So you just sit over there and
close back on.
I am
sit out of scream.
I'm famously terrified of the human form. So I am trying to oppress you. Get out. I can't believe you.
Well, the human form is fantastic in all its ways. In fact, that's the thing about the queer and everything. Once you start accepting everything, well, everything's acceptable. That's probably the one thing that you'd say about today's world in a strange sort of a way, is that in my day, 20, 30 years ago, women were fat. No one's fat anymore. They're all on OnlyFans, making millions as voluptuous or curvy or whatever you want to call it. So to some degree, we've become accepting, maybe not in the right way, but we become more accepting of everybody and whatever they're expressing in a way. But it's not. I'm not sure that it's value driven, but it's been a commercial sort of pursuit, I think.
That's another great word that used to have much more derogatory and is now going through the journey of just becoming a descriptive word, neutral. Yeah. I think that's fantastic as well because
I think it is too.
Worse things you can be in this world than fat.
Yeah, and it's not a value judgment.
And also there's a lot of scientific proof that it does not always equate to health.
Well, I think before I get on these favourite questions, which I'll do, which is crazy, I've been away too long, and I was thinking about ADHD as well, and I'm not trying to discount it by saying here's a solution because I don't have a solution, but what I've developed over the course of time is a real connection to meditation and the meditative space.
Yeah,
and as you come from thinking that you're doing it for a particular reason, trying to stop doing something, trying to be something, as you move yourself through to actually just boom, just be. It's like a source spot where you connect up with source and your thoughts are all legitimate, rather than when you start, you're trying to suppress certain thoughts and all this sort of stuff. And so in that environment, and this is in keeping with the Chinese meditative process that they tested in a place over there between 60 and 89, it actually cures everything. It actually there's chi that runs through the body, and there's, the hemisphere in the brain that jumps into reasoning around 16 actually closes down so that the other part of the brain can repair the body, which it was supposed to do all the time. And so I think in that meditative place, it's gold. It's God. It's terrific. So I empower everyone. I suggest everyone should sort of be there. Here we go.
Friend has meditated every day for the last 3 years. So
What's that? Sorry?
People get along. My lesbian boyfriend has meditated every day for the last 3 years, which is not only a testament to the fact that you two would get along, but also that he is in fact a lesbian boyfriend.
Well, but meditation. The point about it all is, in essence, the quantum has us all connected. So we're a part of each other anyway in the quantum. So if you can turn your brain off, we are already a part of each other. And just to give you another head fuck, I don't think that we have conversations with other people. I think what takes place is if we pull ourselves back to just the cosmic sort of presence that we are, the spirit, we actually, and we're observant, we actually have the conversations that we need to have, and everything that we come into contact with, whether it be a tree or other people or whatever, are just the catalysts for us getting the information that we need that helps us navigate whatever it is that we're trying to navigate. And so to me, that's the purity of it. And that's why working, mortgages, they make no sense to me whatsoever. They're like stage two. And it's like there's, being and doing, or learning, being, doing. And in the doing phase in the middle, you can be a billionaire and you haven't got to the being stage. Now that you can be both, but a lot of people don't because it's that old Buddhist thing. They get taken away by their external. Okay, let's go. Here we go. Final, just some quick answers. Favorite album?
I thought you were going to say.
Oh, currently it's Older by Lizzie McAlpine.
Mine's currently Empathogen by Willow, her latest album. So good. I'm listening to it all the time.
Mine is Stop Making Sense by the Talking Heads.
Fantastic. Favorite artist?
It's tie between Missy Higgins and Sarah Bareilles.
Nice.
Oh.
And Maggie Rogers.
Yeah.
What do you think that Goodbye Yellow Brick Road? If you're gonna talk about entertainment, if you see that where everybody is just glued to her.
Yeah.
She's just got a piano and she's just singing. She's not trying to put on anything. And they are just, mesmerized to the extent that they will never forget that performance their entire life, and they'll tell people about it. That, to me, is entertaining.
Yeah.
That's what it is. If you want to know how to entertain, convey that sort of presence in whatever it is that you do, and you'll be entertaining.
Yeah. Currently, Theo Katzman and Emily King.
Aha.
Mine is the Talking Heads.
Is she referring to us?
Yeah, a couple of heads, and they've been talking.
Favorite movie?
Mine's really rogue and maybe embarrassing, but I'm not embarrassed because embarrassment is a construct. I really love School of Rock.
Fuck yeah.
Unironically.
Yeah.
Oh, and I just love Jack Black. Jack Black.
Jack Black. And he's a teacher. Well, he's not really. He's taking over for Snub or whatever his name is, Nobly or whatever.
That's really hard. Do you know, I was raised on Anchorman and Zoolander, and they're probably still the ones.
I love the
Talking Heads.
Talking Heads live at
Australian documentary Razzle Dazzle.
Oh, you do love that damn film.
National treasure.
What was that?
Razzle Dazzle. It's an Australian mockumentary about the competitive dance scene, and it is well worth a watch.
Oh yes.
What happened to The Sound of Music? I mean, surely.
I do love The Sound of Music.
It's the greatest love story of all time, surely.
I did say the other day, I have been known to say that Julie Andrews in The Sound of Music was maybe my bisexual awakening. She was
Slay.
very cute in that film.
Oh, she was sensational. What a star all the way through. And to think that her and Carol Burnett were such good friends all the way, best mates all the way through. And you know, if you talk about comedy and you talk about this, I don't think there's anyone that's a greater comedic talent than Carol Burnett and the Carol Burnett Show. My God, that was ridiculous. And don't tell me you don't know about it or you haven't watched it, surely.
No, we're all over it. We're all over it. Don't worry.
All right, favorite place to visit?
I'm gonna say, purely because one of my best friends in the world lives there and I don't see her very often, Los Angeles, because my friend Michaela lives there. And it's hard having a long distance best friend who lives in America.
It is.
I am a little slut for Queensland.
The Gold Coast or not Brisbane?
Gold Coast and like Nerang and Mount Tambourine and all that area. I love it.
My brother used to live up in Mount Tambourine.
Oh, Bullvex.
It's hot. It was hot. It was hot.
It is.
Humid.
Love to visit my friend Beth's apartment in Sydney. She has an incredibly well decorated apartment. I feel quite neutral about Sydney as a city, but Beth's apartment location Sydney is my
Where are you guys? You guys in Melbourne, are you?
Currently, physically, we are in Melbourne,
but we
live in Adelaide.
And Rosie lives here.
Rosie.
And where did Beth live in Sydney? I just came back from Sydney a couple of years ago, or about a year and a half ago. I was in Darlinghurst, about 300 meters.
Lovely.
About 300 meters from Hyde Park, and it was a good time. Where's Beth?
That's in Brighton, also very nice.
Oh yeah. All right, favorite venue to play?
Like that many.
These are traditionally music questions where people are talking about O2 or something like that.
This is a flex.
Yeah, this is a flex.
This is a flex, but I did have a gig where I sang on the Festival Theatre stage in Adelaide earlier this year, and it was the biggest space I'd ever sung to,
and that was for the launch of the Adelaide Cabaret Festival. It was a big fucking deal.
It was a big deal, and I was so nervous.
2000?
But it was 2000.
About 2000, really?
Whoa.
But that was pretty big.
That's pretty
just
close.
for like the career significance, I think, more than anything. But also the staff very competent.
I love to perform in a Spiegel tent. I love a Spiegel tent. I think it feels so classic, down and dirty cabaret.
Yeah.
But also classy.
And I've really only had a good time performing in a Spiegel tent.
Yeah, I not as much for prestige, but I did a club gig the other night where the club had a big aquarium full of catfish in it, and I think that's hilarious. So I really enjoyed the Atlantis Lounge Bar in Adelaide.
Get to it
for my own personal reasons.
With the catfish. Yeah. Strangely, I haven't had that answer before. Strangely.
People are sleeping.
So it's original.
On the catfish.
It's original. Favorite food?
Cheese. Don't know why I thought about that. It's cheese, or it's Ben and Jerry's cookie dough ice cream.
I love a Thai green curry that is stuffed to the brim with tofu and veg. Thai green curry.
And I have never been let down by chips and gravy in my life.
Chips and gravy.
Yeah.
I feel like I should get you to come around and scratch your name on the fridge. Favorite drink?
I'm gonna out myself. That one of the only things I drink other than coffee is warm water. It's been boiled and then I top it with some room temperature water from the tap, and it just never fails.
Really? Why warm? Not room temperature. You're talking about
warm.
Yeah, not like hot.
Not too hot, because that would hurt.
And do you warm it up?
Like in the kettle, yeah.
It's like if you're having a cup of tea, then didn't put any tea in it.
Exactly like that.
Yum.
It's just a cup.
And how does it differ from room temperature water?
It's hot. It just tastes so much better when it's warm.
Really?
Yeah,
Just
comforting. And it feels
blends.
warm in your tummy. And also, I'm led to believe more easily digested. And therefore, like, gets
Like-
into your bloodstream faster, which is good for
Yeah,
skin.
love that. Favorite drink, little treat, probably at the moment just a good almond flat white. I worked as a barista for 2 years and it was my favorite job and I was really good at it. So there's also a sense of accomplishment when I make a really yummy one for my tummy.
Almond.
Almond. Yeah, I don't know why, but I prefer that to normal milk with my coffee. I think the flavors complement each other nicely. I would make it oat milk, but the oat milk makes me shit my pants.
Well, there you go. Well, there you go. Sorry, that was the next question. What makes you shit?
Oat milk.
Oh, sorry, we jumped the gun. Jumped the gun.
I love a mocktail. I've been sober my whole life, but having worked in the cabaret sphere, means that you spend a lot of time in clubs and performance venues, and usually if you're performing there, you'll get a free drink card.
Yeah.
And I never want that to go to waste, so I usually ask the bartender which mocktail tastes the most like a dessert.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love watching it get made. I love the theater of it. I love watching a bartender get to sort of strut their skill set. Yeah.
It's a holistic experience.
It is.
It's
Nice.
you look very classy, holding something in a fun glass with just fun colours.
Favorite person in history?
Oh, these two.
You know how you said that you say things that make people feel good.
Yeah.
That didn't make me.
Walk in the walk.
That didn't make me feel good.
My favorite
said-
people in the world are every person with whom we've had an interview with this week has been named Dave.
Really?
We're really having a great time, Dave.
How many of them went for an hour?
None. You are the first, Dave.
We had 20 minutes,
Yeah.
3 minutes, and an hour and 3 minutes.
What I look for in my Dave is
There you go.
longevity.
There you go. Your favorite person? You didn't give me you said all the Daves, did you?
Yeah, mine's all the Daves of this week.
This is all the
particularly Dave the Third.
Aha, Dave the Third. I feel like I'm a king of England, Dave the Third.
God, it's impossible to say. I mean, I think to give an incredibly generic answer,
The talking heads.
I'll just give a shout out to Marsha P. Johnson, who's an incredible trans activist, instrumental in the establishment of Pride as a protest, a riot, and a celebration, and truly like someone without whom we would not be living in the society that we currently are.
Amen.
She's a big name amongst the queer community.
Does it make you sick? Who's that dude in England that's the talker that's always on about trans women?
Ben Shapiro?
No, Ben Shapiro, but the other dude in England that was, anyhow, he's on there all the time. What makes me sick is the fact that they raise, he's a man, or he's a man, and he's transitioned as a woman, and obviously he's going to beat all the women in the races and all, and they make a huge. They take something that's easily accepted by normal people to say, yeah, that doesn't make sense. Why does that happen? And this is the whole element. Because people don't know what half the people in the world don't know what trans is. When you think about down home America and all that sort of stuff. So they only know what they get exposed to, etc. And when all these people are saying it's wrong and they're teaching kids to, change their sex and all this sort of stuff and all the misinformation, it just irritates me. Because you don't understand it. When someone says there's only two sexes, there's not only two sexes. I don't even care if there is only two sexes from a science perspective. The whole of our world, your world is yours.
Yeah.
So as soon as you say that your world is only dictated to by a scientific fact, well, then you've just decided to, opt out. All science is a statement today that'll probably be proven wrong tomorrow.
Yeah.
So just accept that all these things are fluid, and that you only have to live your life in your space. You don't have to live other people's lives in other people's spaces. So fucking shut the fuck up, especially you're having.
Yeah.
No, but
Amen.
if you're having an impact, if you're going to have an impact, make sure you have an impact that harmonizes,
Yeah.
not that separates. Sorry, it just irritates me because I see the trans thing a lot with him, because he's always got people on there that are right wing that are talking about how ridiculous it is, and there's only males and there's only females and that's all there is. And then they always say, not that I'm against it at all. It's like, the old Seinfeld. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but
Yeah.
punch, punch, punch. All right, last thing, tattoos. Who's got a tattoo?
Yay!
All of
us.
All of us.
Yeah.
What's your favorite tattoo?
This one. I don't know if you can read it.
It says
Feminist.
Feminist on my bicep.
Yeah.
I have some really nice art ones, but I just got a little guy the other week.
Come on.
He's just a little guy. I love. Oh my god, my sleeves. Can you help me?
This is chaos.
He's just a little guy. It just says "Stay cool."
Oh, that is so cool.
Those are like lovely ones, but stay cool.
Where did you get that from, and what was the
My friend
catalyst?
Leo does stick and poke tattoos, and he was at our home for one of our friends just moved to Queensland, so we were doing a farewell there, and she had been like, I really want Leo to do some cherries on me, and so he brought his gear, and then because I live in the house, and so I was still there, he was like, would you like something where I have everything? I
Would
said,
you like
"Yes,
this little
please."
guy?
And I looked through all of his designs, and he had this little guy, and I said, he must be mine.
Sensational. Sensational.
I only have one tattoo at the moment, so that one is my favorite.
Yay!
And what is it?
It's a little moth. It's above my elbow, and I got it at Adelaide
Come on,
Fringe Festival, where
pull
we
your
did
sleeve up. Pull
our
your
debut
sleeve up.
season. Oh God.
Lots of work.
Oh,
God,
things to do for you.
God's my dad. No, that's good. I like it. I like
Because
it.
you're our favorite Dave. We wouldn't do this for not a favorite Dave.
No,
No, I get it. And pink.
Let's tell the other Daves.
Why pink?
Oh, it's red.
Oh, it's red.
I don't actually know. I just found it very striking, and I think I was a little bit less intimidated, given that it was my first tattoo, of getting a color that is slightly less evident to the eye than getting black ink.
Right.
It was a bit of a toe in the waters, I think. Yeah.
That's it. You've got to. We're now collaborators. Now you can call me at 3 o'clock in the morning and say,
They could get Missy on the line.
the other two girls have left me, and I'm sitting here and I'm thinking suicide or something like that, and I'll be able to come to the rescue.
Yay! Thanks, Dave.
Thanks,
The third.
Dave.
It's because I've been there and done that and all that sort of stuff. The idea from my perspective, and the reason this hour and all that sort of stuff, it's a bit dours because someone knocks, whatever happens is the most important thing that's happening. And so you just keep doing whatever's happening if it's happening, and it stops when it stops, or it stops when one party decides or whatever, and you just keep doing it. And then you work out, like with this, there's no way known I'm going to transcribe it because even ChatGPT says it's too long, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
So, but it'll be a video. We'll put out a video and all that. But the more important part about all of these situations, in my view, is the collaboration. Because basically what I try and get across to young artists these days is what you want to do is you want to find, collaborate with mentors and other people, because basically that's where your trusted information comes back from, or that's where your bigger experience comes back from when the people are trusted. We can all turn up to people that are motivated for one reason or another. They're trying to sell you something, or they're trying to advance themselves some way. But if you can find collaborators that are just turning up and they're listening to you and what's going on, and they're trying to advance, they're trying to, develop harmony in whatever's taking place, well then, that's a pretty authentic spot. And I can't see that can't be, it's like food for the soul. And so if you can keep feeding the soul, well, then the soul it's like a petrol tank. It's full. So you keep going around with a full soul. So that's a pretty cool place, I think.
I'll say from firsthand experience that the shows that I've toured and mounted and performed prior to writing this one with these guys have predominantly been solo shows. And just the fact that I get to do this one with two of my best friends and it be like a true collaboration where the workload and the input and the creativity and creative output is entirely shared is just delicious, magical,
it's really
blended, so much better than trying to tour an entire show by yourself.
That's good. No, that's good. That's good. I get hundreds of emails every day, and I haven't been answering Bronnies at all because I push about 100 of them into the don't even look at sort of category. But
Yeah.
Bronnie kept on coming through.
Oh,
And,
that's how
that bisexual. What is that? I got no idea what that is, and I looked at it and I thought there's no way known that it's got anything to do with you because your body interviewing Metallica and all this sort of stuff. What are you going to do? Bisexual? And then so I called her and I said blah blah blah, and she said blah blah blah, and I said, "What are we?" And away you go. Look at this. We've been here for an hour and 12 minutes.
Thank you for not ignoring that email, Dave.
No, namaste. And like I say, one of the things I suggest you can do is 30-second or minute videos, on the phone. Just something that's, promoting creative, and we'll whack it out. We'll whack it out as an Instagram.
That's a segue. Dave, would you like to learn and do and perform on camera our bisexual theme song choreography? It's
Oh, you are kidding me.
Got it.
We call it the bisexual salute.
Yeah.
It's really easy.
Easy.
You do this.
Bisexual intellectual. Two.
1.1
turn. Will you do that for us?
Dave hates us now. We're so close.
Well, one of the things, we've got this. We're going to do a sort of a podcast and call it Amped Up, and we've got with an AMN because we're Amplify, obviously, the Australian Musician Network we used to be. And we've got 4 segments, sort of one around our photography and, a team that's going to have a look at that and talk about that. One around our reviews and interviews, and both be doing some news. We're going to have an expert, someone that we can have an interview like this about, but they can share some of the tips about this or the other. And we're going to intersperse it with some shorts and some different things. And we want to also get into creating a connection with the audience where we hook them up with the artist. And, we use our, skills to hook them up with their favorite artist in different ways, or even the artist with the audience and stuff like that. And so from that perspective, that little viral thing that you're talking about, we could probably do, and we could probably give it some air. So, maybe we can, maybe we can take your followers and add 3 more to it or something like that.
Yeah.
So what you'll have to do is you have to do a video. The 3 of you will have to do a video where you do the bisexual
salute.
We are so
salute, and you invite people to do it
with us.
And and you can say, Amplify's got something for you to do. Send them a blah blah blah. Send them your video, your salute, and we'll put it up. And so in doing that, we can get the audience sending stuff through if they send it through, and we can get the bisexual salute. I think it'd go well.
I agree.
Are you sure you don't want to do it, Dave?
That was a good diversion.
Yeah, he was a really good.
I don't even know how to do it. How would you do it? I've got a hat on at the moment.
You don't need anything.
It's okay.
Hold up your peace sign. Mate, come on. Flip around.
Please.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Boom.
Hang on. And I went that way
Not
first.
the 2 fingers, because that's bad. One finger.
You can see why I'm not a performer. What I did? I managed bands, right? So when I was younger, I managed this band 40 odd years ago, and they were going okay. And I thought, there were 6 of them, and they were having lots of. How do we say it? Do we say it the same in the bisexual world as we do it in the heterosexual world? They were having heaps of sex, and so what I wanted to do was I wanted to go up on stage and get some of the action. So I thought, I can't play any, I can't sing, I can't do all that. I'll get some bongos, thinking, well, how easy is that? You know how hard it is to hit bongos? It's
Yes.
the hardest thing in the world. So that's why I'm still doing this. So what do we got? We've got that.
We got
Two. Flip it.
Yep.
One finger on the head.
One finger on the head.
And then
turn it.
So, sorry, you've got the finger which way? That way?
first, and then you flip it.
And then you flip it on the head. So you keep it on the head. So you're
That's
going
it.
boom, boom,
Bisexual.
boom, boom.
Intellectual.
He's got it.
Perfect.
All right. And then how did that originate? What does that represent?
Wow.
Well,
Bi.
bi.
Sexual.
Five.
Bisexual.
Bi, like
Why
two.
is that bi? Because it's
Two.
bi.
Sexual.
Why is that sexual?
That's use your
Have you ever
imagination,
fingered a
Dave.
woman?
Use your fingers for good. Hey, or a man.
Or a man.
Or men. Thank you.
Had to ask.
I'm telling you.
Intellectual big brain.
Oh.
Intellectual, and we're pointing to really reiterate. There's some big brains.
Look at all
going
these
on
brains.
here.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it
That's
goes
very, that's very good. And have you put that out at all, or you're about to put it out?
We will put it out pretty soon.
Yeah.
It matches up with one of the songs that we recorded yesterday.
Or
like
send us the video and we'll put it out. We'll put it out and we'll start doing the bisexual, you know, in our queer connection.
Little song.
We'll be bisexual intellectuals. No, it's good.
Yay!
It's good, man. It's an hour and 18 minutes. This is like a marathon. This is
Yeah.
like,
It
and
is.
we're still here. We're still here talking to them, and we're collecting for the whatever.
Come to the
Right.
show. Then. I
What's
think you'll
that?
have a good time. Come to Bisexual Intellectuals at Trades Hall in October 2nd to the 13th. We would
In
love
Melbourne.
In Melbourne.
in Melbourne.
All right, I'll come to a show.
Heck
It'd be
yeah.
crazy.
Thanks so much, Dave.
Thanks,
No,
Dave.
no. It's been a pleasure. I'm a sort of a strange cat insofar as I've been a corporate and I've been a boss and I've been everything. And basically, the last 15 years, when I left the pawnbroking, I sort of didn't earn. All I wanted to do was I built Amplify, and we've got this thing, and I do lots of free stuff because I'm really not interested. The commercial stuff we'll do and scale and all that, but I really wasn't interested in it because I had to find out who I was. And you've got to basically detach to find that out. You know, if you keep on doing what you were doing, you'll get the same result. So to do something different is to say, I'm not a part of that world and I'm not interested in that world. Consequently or subsequently, my family, who are all pretty well off, keep on trying to fix me. You know, we've got to, you know, Dave's, you know, he was there and now he's here, and we've got to, how can we solve this thing? And it's like you're smiling all the time and they're stressed. And they're trying to fix you know, they're trying to turn your smile around or something or other. And they can't understand it. And I think the world that's what I want to do when I do the pod. I want to say, basically, if you're you were born with everything you need. And so to pursue anything is futile unless you're doing it for you. If you're doing it for any other reason, if you're doing it to keep up or something like that, it's just ridiculous. So if you can detach from that perspective and we can all support each other, then the world will be harmonic because there's no other reason to sort of exist except for harmony.
Oh.
But even the unconscious people are trying to find harmony by getting more money and being secure and, you know, being, you know, safe and all this sort of stuff. They're trying to find some sort of a way to feel, but they're doing it through their heads. And so this thought thing that just changes all the time. That's right. That's the thing. So that's good. That's good, man. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Dave.
I'll put it up, and, you know, who knows what we'll do in the future, and I'll come to one of your shows.
Amazing.
Lovely.
Thanks, Dave. Have a good
One
one.
of you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dave.
What were your names?
Oh, I'm Mim.
Gemma.
Rosie.
Rosie's only been half in screen the whole time. It's been so disconcerting.
Rosie.
Like,
I do have a full face and body.
Popping in and popping out. Good on you guys. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks so much,
Been a
Dave.
highlight, and we'll whack it up. I'll have it up. We'll put it up tomorrow or something like that. I've just got to do all the work with it. Good on you guys. Thank you very much. Been a
Thank
pleasure.
you.